We got a banger. We got a banger. Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano. KO boxing for life. You got Youngin, you got C Smooth. We're here to break it down for you. Undisputed, baby. We've all been waiting for this undisputed fight. Again, Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano. Don't get it wrong. It's not Jermall. It's Jermell. 154 pounder, baby. Oh, see, Smooth, I know you ready for this one.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. I'm not going to get my prediction yet, but there should be some fireworks with this fight.
Yeah, man. Castano, man. That dude just punches and bunches. He's the 154-pound version of Leo Santa Cruz for me. This man just throws punches. We're about to find out if pressure really busts pipes because Charlo got to be prepared. He got to be prepared.
Charlo's a freak. He's a freak athlete, so this is going to be real interesting to watch because he really is a freak athlete. So you can put the pressure on a freak, but I don't know. The freak might bust a leak. I don't know.
So some people think Jermell Charlo's a freak athlete or a special athlete, but there's some others at a four-letter network that apparently doesn't think Jermell Charlo's a top 10 fighter. But I guess we'll save that one for later. You know, in terms of this fight, man, this is a big one for me. This is a big one. I think Jermell Charlo has obviously reinvented himself as a whole different fighter over his last, at this point, I think it's 8 fights. I remember the guy who was just a jabber. He was a mover. Now we're getting KO artists. I think he has 7 knockouts in like 8 or 9 fights. His 8 or 9 last fights, all championship fights. He's really doing something special right here. And I think this fight for him could be his ticket to the Hall of Fame. What do you think, C Smooth?
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure if I could go that far to the Hall of Fame, but definitely going to punch his ticket into. You can't really. You're going to have to put his name up there. You can't really send him out. If you're looking at his resume, it's actually really good. Like I'm looking at his resume, his last 10 fights. You're looking at Tony Harrison, Lubin, Trout, Rosario. I mean, we just saw the Rosario fight. And this guy, he's up there.
Yeah, man. I really think this is his ticket to the Hall of Fame. I guess the one comparison I would give is Winky Wright. Winky Wright is one of those guys who was able to ride his undisputed championship all the way to the Hall of Fame. He didn't have a great career after that undisputed fight. But I really just want to, I guess, get into Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. For me, Jermell Charlo is a knockout artist, and Brian Castano is that guy that puts pressure on you. One of them has to, come out on top. It's either going to be pressure, it's going to be power. Jermell Charlo is not Wilder in terms of power. It's not that one-trick pony type of thing, but Charlo is a very good boxer as well. He has a great jab, just like his brother has a great jab. So this should be a good one. What do you think in C Smooth in terms of how this fight's going to play out in terms of styles?
It's gonna be interesting because Castano, I don't want to call him an easy target, but he's pretty hittable, and Charlo's pretty explosive. But on the other hand, Castano is very technically sound. And you have a technically sound guy, but he's very hittable. But like I said, you have a very good technical boxer on the other end. So
I think in terms of Castano, he's built up a really good resume as well since that Arislandi Lara fight, which I think Brian Castano won the Lara fight. I didn't think a draw was a fair result there, but since that Lara fight, he fought Teixeira, obviously. And I meant to say before the Lara fight, he fought Michael Soro. So that was a good fight as well. Cedric V2 is a good fight as well. So I think Castano has been building up a pretty solid resume at 154. Obviously, Jermell Charlo has the best resume. And I think putting Castano on his list is really going to put him to a level that it's pretty clear he's an elite fighter. And I think he's a top 10 pound for pound fighter right now, but I think it's going to clarify it for the dummies in the back who don't understand that Jermell Charlo is special. He's a freak athlete and he's a generational talent.
It's that 4-letter network again. Oh, we're not going to talk about them. Well, yeah, I agree with that.
We might just have to get into it now. It's early into the podcast, but man, this is driving me crazy. So they had their media day. I think it was last week, and Jermell Charlo and Castano were talking about the fight. Jermell Charlo had mentioned how that 4-letter network over there isn't putting any respect on his name when you look at the pound for pound list. And it got really, really awkward at one point where employee of ESPN, Benn Baby, started asking some questions to Jermell Charlo. It got crazy. So I'm going to play this for you, C-Smooth, and see what you have to say about this.
All right.
What created your list? I created my list. Oh, the pound for pound list? I'm on the pound for pound ranking. Oh, okay. Well, I got 3 belts, you know what I'm saying? I got the linear champion. I beat the number 2 guy. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to know. Y'all didn't know that. Well, I mean, we didn't have Josh Taylor pound that list until he disputed it, until he unified as well and became. He was on there before. He was lower on there, but that being said, I mean,
so this guy's already backtracking. He's like, Josh Taylor wasn't on the list till he won undisputed, and then Jermell Charlo points out, no, that's not true. Well, he was lower on there. Well, Jermell Charlo is not on the list. He has 1 vote from anybody who's voting right now. That's the most ridiculous thing in boxing. Right now.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I have to say, it's tough. It's tough looking at these lists. Looking like who do you take off, but at the same time, what Charlo's doing that's pretty much an insult. That's probably the biggest insult you can give a dude with his resume. And what was it? It was 1 vote, right, for 9th place or something.
Yeah, by one of the voters.
Yeah, that's an insult.
And this interview gets even worse. Let me continue to play it.
If you want to go that route, we can go that route. What do you think up into this day is your best win? What's your best win? What should we look at when I'm looking at making my pound for pound list? What win should I go? You know what? That's Jermell. Have you watched? I don't know how many fights have you watched him fight. I'd have been a guy that's been down on the cards and came back with a knockout. I'd have been a guy that's been, I done fought some of the toughest guys. Y'all got to remember some of the people that I fought, who they fought. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not judgmental on y'all sites or whoever.
Man got 35 fights, and you're going to ask him, give me 1 fight that makes you a pound for pound worthy fighter. What is this guy talking about?
Well, what's crazy to me is, if he wanted to go that route, he had to win over Lubin, and Rosario that just happened as well. So I'm really not understanding what route he's going at. And like I said, granted Trout's aged, but he took out Trout. He's got a really good resume, so I'm not really sure where his angle was going at. What's your definitive fight? Like, you can actually really ask the same question for.
Well, hold on. I don't want you to jump the gun, because let's hear what Charlo has to say in response, because he's not done.
I just know for a fact that I do get a lot of people that write me. They always telling me about, the only people that don't really put y'all on y'all list is ESPN. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That don't make me mad. They don't do nothing to me. Y'all don't pay no bills in my house, and y'all create y'all list every day. You know what I'm saying? Y'all change y'all list every time somebody fights. So that's y'all job. I don't care about that. I'm gonna get in there and do some dangerous stuff, and you don't even you could boycott me off the list like y'all been, whatever the case is, So I don't care about that. I'm 154 Jermell Charlo, and I stand for my grounds for who I am. As long as, like I said, I'm making the people around me happy, and the peers and my coaches and the people that are telling me what to do, and they're satisfied with it, and I give my all. Your list don't matter. I respect that. I appreciate that.
You don't respect that.
It's not like we get extra dollars because y'all made a list that say who the best and who not the best. I believe Canelo number 1 right now.
I want to break that part down. So Jermell Charlo says to him that it's not like we're getting any extra dollars for being on the list. That's not completely accurate. I think being on that pound for pound list gives you prestige, especially with casual fans. Where you will have more casual fans tuning in. So I do think that being on the list does actually result in you receiving more money. And that's why I'm upset when I see networks being biased or not, adequately creating these lists. There's a lot of these lists that are out there that are just pure garbage, and I think ESPN is one of those.
Well, yeah, you pretty much nailed it right on the head. Talking about with those lists, with the casuals, because you've seen it on these debate shows. You could go with the 4-letter network or the 3-letter network, but you see on these debate shows, they'll name off lists, statistics, whatever, and the casuals don't. Casuals aren't going to really know what the hell they're talking about until they start naming things off the list and go, oh, okay, wow, this is compared to so and so, blah blah blah. So when they make these lists and these casuals start seeing it, they go, who's this Jermell Charlo? I see him in the list over and over again. He must be pretty good. Who's this guy, Errol Spence? Etc. You could name, etc. And they probably never even seen him fight, but they probably just they click, they somehow see this list, and that's how that recognition starts to build up. So it is almost like a brand. And when the a 4-letter network, I'm not going to say the name, starts to get a little biased with those lists, then that's how casuals are actually also start seeing these names and start thinking these boxers are better than they really are.
Exactly.
And then you start seeing this. It goes down to a whole different thing. But anyway, yeah. So
exactly. So let me continue to play because he's not done yet.
I agree. He's a top ranked guy, but all of that.
But y'all have Terrence Crawford really, really, really high. I mean, did y'all look at his opponents or who he fought? I know Kell Brooks. I know Kell Brooks was a dangerous fighter. And I believe Kell Brooks was a great fighter. He beat. But my bad. I won't throw out names. I don't got time for drama, but I'm just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think a lot of people say the same things you do, but
yeah, a lot of people, not you, because early in this conversation, he asked Jermell Charlo, "What's your best win?" to almost say to him, "Well, justify why you're a pound for pound guy." But when Charlo points out that Bud Crawford doesn't have one guy that makes him a pound for pound guy, then he wants to be like, "Oh, a lot of people agree with you. A lot of people agree with you." Come on, Benn Baby, come correct. You don't think Jermell Charlo is a pound for pound guy. You have not explained why you don't think he's the pound for pound guy, but now you get to talk to him. You're backtracking, you're dancing around, you're giving double answers. Come on.
Typical, he's got to defend his little reasoning behind it. So, he's not just going to flat on say, hey, I'm just going to, there's marketing partners or whatever, partnerships, etc. So he's not going to come out and say that. So, at the end of the day, he's just going to, you're going to have to come up with an excuse to give you a reason behind why a guy isn't on that pound for pound list.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying. And I don't want people to think that this is the Jermell Charlo network and we're out here pulling for Jermell Charlo to win, although I do want Jermell Charlo to win. I think Castano has equal chance of winning this fight. This is a 50-50 fight. Castano can really bang. He can really sit in there. He can put that pressure on people. I saw what he did to Erislan Lara, and I don't think Erislan Lara at that point was way past his prime at all. I think Castano was able to really break him down at points in that fight. I think I think Lara was able to nail him with some big shots, and I think Charlo's banking on the same thing. Charlo thinks that if he can hit Castano with the same shots Lara was able to hit him with, that man's not going to be able to get off the canvas, and that's Charlo's game plan. I think he's going to try to punch in between those punches.
I'm going to have to say this is more of a 60-40, maybe a 55-45 in favor of Charlo. My opinion, he's got all the tools to beat Castano. It's really at this point, at this level with these guys, it's just execution. Thing you brought up with the Lara fight, pretty much the first time I actually seen Castano. A lot of the parts that gave Lara trouble was he was at the ropes. Then Castano had every opportunity to start laying in, not sitting on his punches, and start getting on Lara. I think movement's going to be key with Charlo, keeping Castano off balance and just really picking his shots. On the other end, Castano, really all I can say is probably just sitting and throwing his counter punches on Charlo and hoping one cracks, and then hopefully hurts Charlo. So it's I'm still favoring Charlo, but it's really it's going to be interesting because you're going to see really pretty much a technical boxer versus a more athletic sound boxer.
Your dog's going crazy in the background. Playing with that toy, man.
I did. And that's Rico. Rico Suave. Rico Suave. Hold on, let me cut him out. He wants to get up on this too. Hold on. Hey, Rico, calm down.
I'll keep going. Yeah, I think when you talk about Charlo's, if Charlo has a kryptonite, I think one thing Harrison kind of showed is you don't have to throw a lot of punches with Charlo. I think Charlo's a guy who sometimes gets overexcited and he'll make a lot of mistakes on his own. And you can sit there and you can be more technical or more proficient, be a counter puncher with Charlo. I think that hurts Charlo more than a guy who is going to throw a lot of punches. But at the same time, pressure does bust pipes. So I can't say that Castano doesn't have a shot in this fight. And I agree with you. It might be 55-45. I lean to 50-50 because I think anytime you have a guy who's in his prime, who puts on the pressure that Castano puts on, you're always going to be in a tough fight. We've seen Charlo down on the cards before and score knockouts, but we've never really seen Charlo in a fight where a guy's doing a lot of work, landing a lot of shots. Because even in the Harrison fight, I don't think Harrison landed a lot of shots. He was just very economical with his punches. And Castano's going to be a guy who is there throwing punches. But what do you think at C Smooth in terms of your predictions for this fight?
Well, you busted a key word right there. You said economical, and that's pretty much going to be Castano's ticket, to have some chance in this one. Everything else, I have to put Charlo on. I mean, hand speed, I got to favor Charlo. Movement, I'm favoring Charlo. Power, probably going to favor Charlo too. So there's a lot of things I'm going to go with Charlo in this fight. Really, I'm not going to say it's his fight to lose because Castano, like I said, he's a very technical boxer. So I'm not going to say it's Charlo's fight to lose, but he definitely has all the tools to execute and take out Castano. So, as far as prediction, I got I'm going to say I got Charlo. Probably going to go TKO, actually. I'd probably go TKO 8th round. I could see him peppering him with some things. Castano, I think the hand speed is just going to be too much of a problem for Castano. He hits him much harder than, my opinion, I think Charlo hits much harder than Lara. I'm going with a TKO in the 8th round.
So in terms of this fight, my prediction is Charlo's going to win this fight. I think Charlo is going to get a few knockdowns in this fight. And I think that's ultimately what's going to win it for him. I think he's going to win on the cards. I just can't see Castano getting knocked out. One of the reasons why I don't think Castano will get knocked out is he has a very strong amateur background. And a lot of times with guys who have a strong amateur background, they know how to survive when they need to survive. And they also are really technically sound to the point where it's very difficult to knock them out. So I don't expect Charlo to get the knock out, but I think he's going to have to knock him down a couple of times to get the win. And I think he will because Castano is going to have to put the pressure on him. And when you're putting the pressure on a guy, you leave yourself open at times. And I think Charlo is very good at capitalizing on that. So I do expect Charlo to win this fight, but I think it's going to be on the scorecards. I don't think it's going to be a technical knockout.
Remember though, even though Castano I'm pretty sure he'll have the will to survive, the tools knowing how to survive. You also got to factor in his corner and the doctors. If this dude gets a cut, if he's getting hit with a lot of shots volume wise, which I could see happening in the later rounds, I could see it ending. And especially if he's not up on the cards, I could see them throwing in the towel. So that's just my opinion over that. But going with the TKO, I can't see a knockout. I'll be really shocked if there is a knockout in one way or another from either side. But yeah, I'm definitely going with the TKO, and I could easily see the corner stopping it.
You're missing one thing. Argentinians, they don't got towels, bro. There is not going to be a stoppage.
That's true. I did forget about that.
You can't come from the lineage of Sergio Martinez, Maidana, and throwing towels. In an undisputed fight, the doctor would have to stop it or the ref would have to stop it. There is no way you are going back to Argentina saying, yeah,
That's
my
true.
team
That's true.
threw out a towel. There's just no way. I think Charlo's going to have to finish him if he wants this fight to end. I think even a ref would be hesitant to not give a guy a chance, especially in an undisputed fight, which obviously can make a huge difference in Castano's career. So I think it's one of those situations where there's no towels in this fight. This is two men going at it. Whose will is going to overwhelm the other man's will? Whose background made them stronger, tougher, and molded them into someone who won't quit? So I do think it's one of those fights where both guys are going to have to dig deep. Both guys, not just Castano, not just Charlo. They're both going to have to dig deep because Castano's coming to do this for Argentina. And Charlo got to come and do it for himself, his family, and his people as well. So I expect this to be a banger. I expect this to be a real banger, C-Smooth. We're getting a banger on Saturday night.
I agree with you. I'm with you there, and I'm hella excited to see this. I'm ready for the fireworks, and let's go. I'm ready, baby.
Signing off, KO Boxing for life.